Welcome back to r/IDWHL, where this time we have to deal with a Karen grandma who demands that a young woman loses her job because her skirt is too short. Just a quick reminder, if you have any interesting stories to share, please post them on r/ripe stories on Reddit so I can read them in one of the next videos. Without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. Entitled Karen thinks I'm a janitor. Now, this happened about 7 years ago, and while I did work in the same building, it was not as a custodian. I was about 19 or 20 when I worked in a hospital's food service department as a food service aide. And since the hospital was small, we were the only food option available in the building aside from a vending machine on the 4th floor. So we had a small cafeteria, and the kitchen was responsible for making food for both the hotline in the cafeteria and the food for patient rooms. We were always understaffed and run ragged all the time. I worked as dishwasher, a cook in the cafeteria, and during lunch and dinner shifts I delivered food to patient rooms. Now, because I worked in the food service department, I never got mistaken as a custodian thanks to the different uniforms. My department at the time wore ugly buff green uniform shirts, black uniform pants, hairnets, a stupid black chef hat and black shoes. They were so bad, many of the girls were mistaken for guys because of how they were made to fit our bodies. Custodians wore a bright blue polo, black pants and black shoes. Plus, 9 times out of 10, they had either a cleaning cart with them or some kind of cleaning supply. Trust me, this is all important. Now, I was used to getting ordered around by nurses because of diet sheets and having to deal with irate patients because they were getting beef or chicken broth after surgery. It was all a part of being at the bottom of the totem pole. However, patients or their families were most of the time very nice and happy to see us since we were bringing food. But on this particular day, I was in a pretty foul mood. An entitled nurse was threatening to call my boss if I did not hand over extra pre-made sandwiches for her and her crew when she knows we are not allowed to do that. It was late and I was running behind on serving patients their dinner. I was on my first floor and was about to go get another food cart to go to the ICU when I felt a harsh tap on my shoulder. The cast is me, K for Karen and S for my supervisor. Karen:
Finally, do you know how long I've been calling the nurse's station for you people?
Me, confused: I'm sorry, were you trying to get a hold of food service?
Karen: No, I've been calling for you. Do you know how long I've been waiting for you?
Back then, I was not really very good with people. If anything, I used to run away from conflict. But thanks to this place, I was growing a bit of backbone due to the crappy nurse staff. And because she caught me in a bad mood, I probably had a "what the F do you want?" look on my face. Me: I'm sorry, how can I help you?
My
insert relative here due to Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act of 1996
has been waiting for someone to clean their room. I've been paging the nurse's station over and over again, but they won't call someone.
I would have felt sorry for her had she been a bit nicer to me, since I knew this problem rather well. At the time, the nurses of that floor were entitled and horrible. Many had gotten fired for improper care of patients after I left a couple years later, and thankfully the place is much better now. But back then, this was a common complaint. But since she was being an ass to me, I did not really feel like bullcrapping her with a fake smile and taking her complaint seriously. She had the aura about her that screamed, "I'm better than you, haha." And I personally cannot stand that. Me: I'm sorry, I'm sure they called for someone. If you wait, I'm sure. Karen:
No, I'm not waiting. Get off your lazy ass and do your job. You serve the public, so you will listen to what I tell you.
Me, realizing what she was talking about: Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not a custodian, I'm in food service.
Karen: Stop making excuses and go clean the room. There's pee everywhere. And while you're at it, get your manager. You suck at your job.
Me: Ma'am, you need to keep your voice down. I work in food service. I will go get someone from.
Karen: Shut your mouth. How dare you talk to me like that? I make much more money than you will ever make in your life. That means you serve me. Now do what I tell you.
I go back and forth with her for a good 10 minutes, trying to insist that I don't work as a janitor, and this prompts my supervisor to come to the floor. He was wondering why I was taking so long coming back to pick up the card, and as he comes off the elevator, he sees me with the crazy Karen. I could almost see the urge to turn back and run into the elevator in his eyes when Karen turns to see him standing there. Karen,
Are you this guy's manager?
I'm a girl, stupid uniform. S,
Yeah, how can I help you?
Karen,
I want him fired. He's lying and saying he won't clean my
insert relative here.
room.
Looking confused, supervisor looks to me as if wanting to know what happened. I look at him and mouth silently, "Help me, she's insane." He then looks to Karen. S,
Ma'am, she's not a custodian. She's delivering food trays to very hungry patients and is not a custodian. Now please keep your voice down or I will call for security.
Karen,
How dare you? This man has lied to me and tried to assault me. What the hell kind of place is this?
S,
She's a food service aide who more than likely has to get food for your
relative.
and other patients. The food is getting cold, so please leave her alone to do her actual job.
This apparently pissed her off more as she began to yell in his face, and supervisor told me to go to the kitchen and ask one of the other aides to finish delivering food. I found out later that she was escorted off the property and that she was blacklisted by the relative from coming to see them. Turns out she was right outside their room, and they were so embarrassed and angry about her actions that they told the hospital staff to move them to another room and to inform security to keep her from coming back to see them. She did not take this too well, as the cops were called twice afterwards. I gotta say, that Karen was especially rude and crazy, and I really cannot stand it when people like that talk down to service workers, implying they are the scum of the earth or something, despite doing a probably very underpaid and incredibly important job, like a nurse for example. I'm curious, are any of my viewers nurses or work in hospitals? If you do, you definitely deserve some extra stars in the comments. But anyway, let's continue. But officer, a brief backstory. I graduated high school back in 1995. Yes, I'm also old and was heavily into the drama program at my school. I was the lighting and sound tech during my years in the program. I did all the miscellaneous things around the set and was pretty good at my job. I was reputed to be able to fix anything, even though I only really fixed one thing, just a loose screw on a strobe lamp. A few years later, my former teacher calls me and asks if I could come and help out with the new production. And the story begins. So, the year is 1999 and I'm 4 years out of high school and going right back as a volunteer. I only had a part-time job at the time, so I had lots of time to help out. This day found me at the school helping to repair and set up the lighting trees, lights and the sound system. It was coming up on lunchtime and I needed to vacate the cafeteria while the students descended for the feeding frenzy. I decided to walk down to the McDonald's about a half mile from the school. I left campus by the back gate and proceeded to walk to the Golden Arches. I lit up a cigarette and went on my merry way. There was a chirp of a police siren from behind me when I was about halfway there. This is where it all begins. The cast is O for police officer, OL office lady and me. Officer getting out of his car.
Do you know the legal smoking age is 18?
Me? Yeah, I do. So what? O,
Where are you going?
me? To get lunch, then head back. Do you need something? Oh,
Yeah, I need you to get in the car and come back with me.
me? Why? Oh,
I caught you smoking and off campus. Can't have you cutting classes.
me? Oh, I graduated 4 years ago. I'm only volunteering at the school. Officer,
I heard it all before. Now you can either get in the car and take your punishment like a man, or I can cuff you and take you back in cuffs.
me? Are you serious? I told you I graduated already. I'm 20. I have an ID. Officer,
Yeah, told you. Your choice.
reaches for his cuffs. Me? Okay, fine. I get into the back of the police car and he takes me back to the school. Straight to the front of the school, in front of all the students who are still on lunch period. I'm shaking my head the entire time I'm walking to the office. Officer,
I caught this student smoking and cutting class down the road.
OL to me,
Hi dum-dum.
looks at officer.
Officer, he graduated 4 years ago. He's a volunteer for the school's drama program. He can leave anytime he wants.
Oh,
Are you sure?
at this point I pull out my driver's license and put it on the counter in front of him. Me? Yep, and the state of Hawaii agrees with me about my age. OL, I'm gonna be late coming back from lunch. Can you let teacher know that I was brought back for truancy? Officer is red in the face now and says I cannot smoke within 500 feet of a school and will be giving me a ticket for that. Me? But I was a quarter of a mile away when you caught me smoking. Unless I'm mistaken, that exceeds the 500 feet by quite a bit. Turned and walked out of the office. Made my way back to the Golden Arches and saw the cop following me back. I waved at him and kept smiling. By the way guys, I'm curious, have you ever been, wrongfully of course, handcuffed by the police? If you did and you have an interesting story to tell, feel free to share it in the comments, or even better on r/ripestories on Reddit so I can share it in the next video. Either way, if you have watched until here, please don't forget to post some stars in the comments and like the video if you want to support me. My little sister being called a dirty mixed child. This is both an entitled story and I don't work here lady story, but involves me, my sister and a Chicana. By the way, apologies in advance if I butcher the Spanish. So to explain real quick, I'm a proud mixed child. On my dad's side, I'm black, French and German, and on my mom's Latina, Native American, Cherokee and Irish. Sadly, the German, French and Irish won the fight, so I'm fair-haired with light green eyes and pale skin. I'm actually a proud Latina, as I pretty much identify more with that side thanks to growing up around my papi, my mama's husband, great abuela, papi's mom, great abuelo, papi's dad and my two tios, uncle. I've never been attacked for being mixed because most people don't know and don't really care unless you're close to me or hear me talk. My little sister, however, got a lot of Native American and Latina. She's tall and has tan skin and beautiful tan-colored hair, as well as brown eyes. However, due to how she was raised, she does not actually relate more to the Latina side as she's not around that side much. I speak some Spanish though, sometimes it's broken and sometimes I fumble as I speak. English, Spanish and French. So I try to teach my little sister as much as I can. She cannot really speak it, but she does understand what I'm saying when I talk to her. So we were talking through the aisles of Wally World and I was conversing with her. She was telling me a story about some girl bullying her and how it did not really bother her. I cannot remember what I said, except it was something along the lines of Ella puede besar mi culo, ella no es mierda. She can kiss my butt, she ain't poop, trying to keep this PG. And quiere patear su culo, want me to kick her butt? She laughed and then said she wanted to go look at some art stuff. I told her to go ahead and I would be right over. I was browsing for a cheap package of socks. I was only there for a few moments when I heard my sister shouting. Of course, my mama bear instinct kicked in and I ran over cart and all. Some fat Chicana was holding my sister's arm and screaming at her in Spanish. It was something along the lines of
"How dare you ignore me?"
etc. etc. I calmly walked over and asked her to remove her hands from my sister. She did, but still was yelling and I put my little sister behind me. She claimed she needed help because she could not locate something and hates having to talk in English, and saw my little sister and thought she could help. For context, she was wearing a shirt with Spanish lyrics on it, so she assumed she could very well speak English and was a Latina. She then stopped and raised an eyebrow at me and my sister and then quickly started yelling about how she should know Spanish, but it makes sense since she's a dirty mixed child, and in English called her a mixed little WHORE. She started to cry because she's sensitive about being screamed at and generally scared of mad adults. I'm not gonna lie, I have my abuela's temper, so I told my sister to start marching out of the aisle. My face felt really hot, I immediately started throwing any random cuss word I could think of at her. Not gonna read all these insults because they might get me demonetized, but basically lots of insults and other stuff, before finally telling her that if her fat Chicana butt wanted help, she should have gotten a worker or something, because children should not be your first one you go to. And she huffed and said she would tell the manager about me, and I told her to go ahead, and next time she wants to harass a child that she gets hit. Good lord, she was entitled and harassing a child who clearly did not work there. Honestly, might place this to both Reddit forums. You know, it's weird, in some cultures it's celebrated when people come from a mixed background, and then in other places people get hatred for it. But in either case, Personally, I find it absolutely ridiculous how important race is today. I mean, honestly, who the hell cares if you are half Spanish, half German, half Japanese, half Chinese? It is important to know your roots, but that shouldn't define who you are. How do you feel about this race construct? Tell us in the comments. But anyway, let's continue.
Fire your delivery driver.
Ma'am, we don't have delivery drivers. This is less of a I don't work here lady story and more like they don't work here lady. I work at a pizzeria whose location is around a lot of businesses. Lunch is our busy time because we get suits coming in for their lunch breaks. I am taking people's orders as they walk inside and we are fairly busy, so I have not left this station for quite a while. In storms a wild Karen. Her hair is a little long, but she's got the face and one of those floral business casual tops that middle-aged women seem to have by the closet full. She also has the aura of entitlement that comes with Karenhood. Me, hi, welcome to XX. What can I get started for you today? Karen,
I need to speak with your manager.
not surprising. My manager is about 5 feet away on the secondary line, training a new guy and helping him make some of the orders. We had a special that day, so they still had several pies to make. Me, Liz, name change for ambiguity. This woman wants to speak with the manager. Liz, okay, I will be right there. Karen is within hearing distance, but I still turn and let her know. She will be with you shortly. I then take the next person's order and hop on the front line to help make some pizzas to clear our orders. I can hear Liz trying to teach the new guy portions and trying to help clear the orders on the second line. Karen is starting to turn red from holding her entitlement too long. After about 5 to 10 minutes, Liz comes up to the front line to grab something they were out of on the back line. Karen,
No, you already helped him. You need to help me now. I'm done waiting. You're going to help me.
this woman wanted the manager to stop everything she was doing to talk to her in the middle of lunch rush. Liz, okay ma'am, I will be with you in just a second. My manager then tells new guy to ask me for help on where the item they were out of was and if he needed anything. I hop onto the second line to help, but can still hear most of the conversation. Karen,
I need you to fire your delivery driver that delivered my order.
Liz, we don't have any delivery drivers. Karen,
Yes, you do. I had my pizzas delivered.
Liz, was it a food delivery company order? Karen,
I ordered from you guys. I called and talked to someone and placed my order for delivery.
Liz, can I see your receipt, ma'am? Karen hands over a receipt while explaining,
Your driver was an hour late delivering my food. I was not going to have any time to eat it. It was completely wasted. I think you need to fire him.
Liz, looking at the receipt, ma'am, this is a food delivery company order. You placed your order with them and they deliver it for you. They don't work for our company. Karen,
No, they deliver your food, so they obviously have to work for you. He needs to be fired immediately.
Liz, ma'am, I cannot fire him. He's not my employee. He works for delivery company. Karen scoffs,
Well, he was an hour late. He should have called to tell me he was going to be late.
Liz, he's not our driver, ma'am. I don't know what to tell you on why he didn't call. Karen,
Well, you should have called me when he picked it up and let me know he was late.
Liz, we don't do that. We make the order as it comes in and the driver picks it up when he gets here. You didn't place the order with us. We wouldn't have called you. Karen,
Well, this is a complete waste. I didn't get to eat my food because he didn't bring it on time. I want a refund. This is ridiculous. I couldn't even eat my food. He was so late.
my manager refunded her. Some days you cannot win. Hope the new guy enjoyed his first day. Actually not sure that was a good decision on the manager's part, because now Karen will try that again over and over again.
Why does your employee dress like a slut?
This story happened when I was still in high school. I was shopping at a clothing store I go to very often. Usually the stores are structured so that they have the women's, men's and kids' clothes in sections connected by small walkways. But each section is its own separate room. It's really not hard to navigate because there are clear signs everywhere. I like to wander through all the sections because I often find clothes that will fit me. On this particular day I went after school on a Friday and my school has a uniform that consists of a white or blue polo with a plaid skirt and is widely recognizable in the area. The skirt was mid-thigh length on me due to my height. While it wasn't exactly knee length, I wouldn't call it short either, as I could safely bend down. I had an armful of clothes that I was going to try on later, and I accidentally knocked some clothes off a rack with a hanger that was sticking out. The decent human thing to do would be to pick up what you dropped, right? Well, I bent down to pick it up when I hear someone huff and storm up behind me. I thought they were angry I was in the way, so I apologized to her and walked off. She was not a Karen, she was older lady. She was Karen's mom. I'm going to call her Glenda. Suddenly, Glenda grabs my shoulder and jerks me backwards, making me drop my armful of clothes. Glenda,
Why were you ignoring me? I've been following you for 8 minutes now. You didn't even acknowledge me.
me? Why did you touch me? Do I know you? Glenda,
You effing kids. I don't need to introduce myself to you to get your help.
me, still oblivious but annoyed. I'm sorry, what do you need my help for? Glenda,
Are you dumb? Are you useless? Why did they hire you? I want to know where the hell
blah blah blah.
is, and I cannot find it because of your confusing store layout.
Me, I don't work here. You can follow the signs. Glenda,
Liar, you kids are so lazy. I can see you work here. You have the collared shirt on.
At this point, I just turned around to walk away. I could hear her screaming after me about managers and how I'm incompetent, but I just wanted to get out of her near vicinity as soon as possible. Unfortunately, my plans of escaping were foiled as I needed to pick up my clothes that dear Glenda threw on the ground for no reason. As soon as I bent down, Glenda screams,
Don't do that again, you slut. Don't bend down in your little skank skirt. They should fire you for how you dress alone.
Unfortunately, this is not a satisfying story where I pressed charges and got Glenda put away for assault. I was 14 and dumb and hated confrontation, so escaping from her was the best I could do. I picked up my clothes and put them away on the fitting room rack and left because I did not feel like trying anything on anymore. On my way out, I saw Glenda yelling at someone who I presume is the manager and pointing in my general direction. I waved and walked right out. Best believe I would be much more vindictive if it happened today. Do you guys think that the name Glenda fits an older Karen grandma? For me personally, the name Glenda sounds like a very kind woman and not like a Karen at all, but I might be wrong. What do you guys think? What would be a name that would suit an older Karen, like a grandma or something? Let's discuss in the comments. But anyway, this is unfortunately the last story for today. I hope you enjoyed the content, and if you did, don't forget to leave your boy Ripe a little like. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I see you again tomorrow.